What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode here on Let It Grow Investing. I'm Jeff, and we're going to try to navigate this wild and crazy roller coaster of a market. All things crypto, all things stocks, all things foreign affairs, everything that is going just haywire this week. And yeah, man, it's been quite the week. So where to begin? Where to begin, guys? We've got Bitcoin. We got really comfortable around that 100,000 level, kind of traded off down to like 95, and then things just went through the floor, like 79,000, right? I mean, in the world of Bitcoin, not that big of a drop, 20% ish off of peak, give or take, right? But now we're back at 95,000. So if you haven't looked in a week, we're right back where you thought we were. But if you're paying attention to it, it's been a wild ride. A lot of different things, a lot of different fears, AI, geopolitical fears, what's going on with Ukraine and Trump and Zelensky. We've got that. We've got just sell off in the market, things going on with NVDA, with earnings. So all of it, bring it together. What do we got? We got just a mess, an S show, if you will. And man, where do we even want to begin? So, man, I guess we can just take a look right at what the NASDAQ did. We had PCE coming out. Some of those inflation fears are still there. So we've got that to contend with. We've got a lot of different things that are just going on in this market. On the end of Friday, we looked okay. If we look at it over the day, it's a mess, right? So first thing off, man, I looked at my account. I was like, dang, we're doing all right. We're doing pretty good. I'm not going to complain about this. And then we had the Zelensky report come out. The mining rights didn't go through, and there was like a spat at the White House, kind of back and forth chatter as to, we're not doing that. We're not ready to end this thing. We're not going to, conform to whatever you're asking of us. And, they kind of, just said their goodbyes. And that was kind of that. Right now, Zelensky's in Europe trying to do some more, talks with other leaders in Europe. And, they're kind of on board with him. But I don't know where this ends up. So there's a lot of people looking, as to what the market's going to do. Finally, we got this relief rally to end out February. We ended up positive, but if we look at the 5-day, man, it was rocky. It was definitely rough. And, I say we had a relief rally, but if you look at it, we're still, maybe not even midway of our, the trading range for the week, right? We're definitely on that lower half of where we were. So a lot of fears that are still out there. The VIX, let's take a look at the VIX. That's going to show us I typed it wrong. Let's take a look and see just what is going on out here. Spiked up, came back down as the market rallied, right? So we did have some fears. We get up to those 30 handles. That's when we really know that things are getting crazy. But a lot of people are fearful. I'm hearing a lot of people worried about what stocks are going to do, what inflation's going to do, what Trump is going to do, right? And I think a lot of people are quick to really side with whatever political party. But if we just simply zoom out, we take a lot of the political noise out of it, we can actually start to make some judgments as what to do from here. A lot of people pointing to the fact that, Elon is this Nazi or whatever you want to say. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I listened to him a little bit on Rogan the other day just to try to get some kind of basis as to what was going on. He said, if he does anything, it's analyzed, it's criticized, it's everything. I don't know. I wasn't too sure what even U.S. aid was. I guess it was the U.S. Agency of International Development. I think that's what it is. And it sounded like it was for, aid of our own people or aid to other countries that were really, needing it. But it actually looks like it's just being spent for international development. So a lot of different things out there, a lot of things getting casted the wrong way. Which I think hurts the market, right? There's a lot of fears out there as to what is actually true. What do we need to pay attention to? And where do we go, right? So I think that presents an interesting situation where a lot of stocks have sold off and maybe they didn't need to, right? So, we're looking NVIDIA, right? Man, they had a pretty solid report. Actually, I might go ahead and share this other article first. Let's go ahead and share this one. So, I mean, this is just where I was looking earlier. NVIDIA revenue tops analyst expectations in fiscal Q4, right? And now this is data centers. The big green line is the data centers, right? So we're looking at Q4 data centers being at 18.4 billion, and we are now looking at Q4 in 25 being 35.6 billion dollars, right? So there's a lot of fear about slowdowns and people adopting, NVIDIA's chips, margins on Blackwell. But second half of the year, they're still pointing for the margins to be in the 70s, right? A lot of growth, a lot of margin, and a lot of companies would cut off their arm to get those margins. I think I've said that exact same thing before. Those numbers are fantastic, but I think a lot of people are overreacting to some of the minuscule things that we kind of already knew, right? We already knew that Blackwell wasn't fully ramped up. We knew that the margins were going to come down a little bit, and people are overreacting to it. So I did go ahead and read some of this. Where were we? We know that NVIDIA's margins in the first half will be below their usual robust levels as Blackwell ramps up. The street did know this ahead of the results. So why are we getting, just selling off? I think there's a lot of other fears of basically where these other companies are. All their big companies that are buying the product, are they going to be in the same place? Are they going to be still spending as much as they thought they were? And they're not really pointing to any big slowdown at these big Mag 7 companies. That is a lot of NVIDIA's clients, right? So, I think that, we've got this line here. We had execs sought to push back on the bears who have put forth a narrative that there will be a digestion period for AI investments by hyperscalers such as Amazon, and that NVIDIA margins may have peaked. Again, these other companies are continuing to buy. Margins are coming down, but as we get into the later this year period, I'm saying back half of 25, the margins are going to be in the mid 70s, right? That is still fantastic margins. The growth that they are looking for when we get down to data is huge, right? It's almost double in a year on a already $18 billion business line. Gaming, 2.9, 2.6, 2.9, 3.3, 2.5. All right, so gaming's going to fall off a little bit. Others, 1.1. Yeah, I think the bigger concern here is what data center is doing, right? So if we've got, 18 billion, we ramp that up to 35 billion, and then, those margins being in the 70% range, those are pretty awesome, right? So I don't think that the sell-off that we had when I get back to NVIDIA, I'm going to share this tab. I don't think that this sell-off after earnings was fitting, right? I don't think that it was. So when it got down to sub 120, I was buying, right? I think there's a lot of bearishness out there right now. Kind of Warren Buffett famously said, when others are bearish, I want to be bullish, right? I think you have to take out a lot of the noise. I think also we need to digest what is going on, right? If we do get tariffs, who's going to benefit? American companies are going to benefit when they don't have to import a lot of product. That will hurt NVIDIA. We're going to see some back and forth from China. They already said they're going to come back with all means necessary to do whatever they have to do to kind of even the playing field, right? So that is going to hurt some companies in the short term. But at the end of the day, I think if we zoom out a year, what happens? If we zoom out 4 years, what happens? I think that NVIDIA is still a buy if you look at it for 4 years. Are the margins maybe slowing this quarter? Sure. Are they expected to get better by the end of the year? Yes, they are. There's a lot of fear right now, but I think a lot of millionaires are made when there is fear and blood in the streets. So I'm not saying that all stocks are simply just go ahead and buy it, but I think some of these, you got to take advantage of the dips that are presented to themselves. Because if you wanted to buy NVIDIA at 150, back January 7th, like it has down here, you could have done that, right? But now that it's on sale, a lot of these things were already known, right? We already knew that Trump was going to plan to use tariffs. He said it how many millions of times. Tariffs is his favorite word. Regardless if you love, hate, or you're somewhere in between on what Trump does or says or who he is, understand that it's the game that we're all playing in the market, right? the fact that he's going to use these bargaining tools and be unpredictable, we can use that as investors to make a couple dollars, right? So I don't want to see everyone just get scared out and miss good buying opportunities because, oh, this is happening in the office, or this is happening in AI, or Google's margins slowed by just a penny, so we're going to slow down the spend at Google and they're not going to buy as much NVIDIA, because I don't think in 5 years it really matters. So why are we here, right? Are you a trader? Are you a long-term investor? Are you a swing trader? Like, what is the play here? And I think if you're a long-term investor, you got to take a look at the buying opportunity that come from these conversations, these supposed fears, uncertainties, and doubts that are out there, and take a look at what is really going on. So we did have BlackRock, I want to say, buying more iShares Bitcoin Trust, right? So this obviously is not open right now. I can go ahead and pull up the actual Bitcoin price, and I'll probably do that. But they are looking to buy more here. We saw Paul Tudor Jones buying more here as well, in the tune of $450 some million. I think Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund is buying in. I think a lot of this news is why Bitcoin is rallying on some of these, these dips that have, occurred recently. So, where can we go? We can go to, let me see if I can get a Bitcoin spot price here for us and just take a look at what is going on here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin spot price. And where can I go? I can go right to CNBC, or I'll share this tab. That'll work. So we are looking at Bitcoin just right from Google, right? So on the 1 day, I told you we were down in the mid 80s. I know on the 5 day we were lower than that. We did break right under 80,000 to 79.1. But then we've got this 1 day just rally, right? We're just flowing higher, right? ADA is going through the roof. I think ADA coin was up about 60 some percent earlier. If I can pull that up, ADA. Let's see if we can pull up ADA. I think we were higher than that earlier, but yeah, I know my crypto.com was telling me we were about 60% up. So I don't know if this looks correct. I'll have to take a look at that. But Ethereum, let's take a quick look over there. And now I don't know that I'm buying a bunch in the way of altcoins, but Bitcoin or Ethereum's up 13% today. Nice rally here for those that are invested in these. So a lot of things that I think are really fears. Some of us are starting to see investors, big investors, come back in, buy up the market, change up what everyone is doing, right? Everyone is rushing for the hills. A lot of people are just selling all stocks, going all cash, and I think it is a mistake. I think it's a mistake. Now, that does come with the caveat of we need to avoid job losses, right? We need to have a strong jobs report, and I think going forward, that is a big, big concern. I don't know how that goes. I think if we have job growth come down, we're going to be at a spot where you are going to be too late to cut rates. We aren't going to be able to cut rates because if we cut rates, inflation is going to spike, and that is going to be a big problem for everyone. So we do have this fine line to play with inflation and tariffs and job growth, right? Because if jobs falls apart and we have these higher tariffs, prices are going to go up, and then we're going to have this negative either stagflation or recession. And that is what we do not want to see. So I am cautiously optimistic that the government is going to be able to thread the needle here and get some of these deals done that are going to bring everyone back to the table. I don't know if that's going to be as smooth as a lot of people think, but I do believe within the next 3 months we'll have a very good handle on where things go from here. So if there's a lot of U.S. stocks that you're really after, keep them on a watch list. Really take a look at what's going on out there and where we can go from here, what needs to be bought during this downturn, and have that sharpened pencil, have that cash ready, have it on the sidelines and ready to go to buy these things when they get to your target price. So yeah, I'm going to try to pull up our watch list. I forget how to do that. It's been a minute. And let me see here. Let's go to accounts. Yeah, it's accounts watch list. I'll pull this one up real quick. All right, so let's go bring this one back up. E-Trade watch list. Let's take a look. So, yeah, man, we're seeing a lot of people hiding out in the healthcare names, right? Eli Lilly, this one, man, I was slamming the buy button around 730 to 760. My average is somewhere in the 750, 760 range, I think. This one has done fantastic for us year to date. Yeah, we were buying right here. We were buying right at the lows, guys. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I knew that this thing was too cheap and it was going to rally. I just felt it, and the writing, just the way that it fell on the news that was happening, just did not make sense to me. So I went ahead and just kept buying through here. And once we got above 8, I kind of stopped, right? So now we're sitting on gains here. I think, again, going forward, we're going to see a lot of people crowding into a lot of the U.S. Pharmaceuticals, the U.S. companies, and this one continues to be strong, right? So I think Eli Lilly at 920, there's some upside, 11%, call it. Still limited downside, though, right? So even at 900, I think you're getting a fair valuation on this stock for what the situation that is in front of us. So that one looks strong. I haven't checked on AbbVie too recently, but that is another position that I do hold on to. Not as much upside here. Looks like we've already got people crowding into this one a bit. Let's go through the snapshot. Let's take a look here. We still do have some buy ratings. Got a decent dividend. And yeah, pretty nice movement higher already. So yeah, if we had this at the beginning of the year, in that 170 range, and now we're sitting 210, you're doing okay there as well, right? So a lot of these stocks that have gotten beat down are going to be in that growth sector. Palantir comes to mind, right? We definitely peaked out on this one. People are concerned about DeepSeek. They're concerned about AI. They're concerned about the cost that is, included when it comes to building out AI. So yeah, we got way ahead of ourselves. I told you guys I wasn't looking to buy this thing above 100. Potentially I'd buy it in the 80s. I think I bought a couple shares this week. Don't quote me on that. And I will continue to buy if it goes down in the 70s or the 60s. That would be a better time to load up, in my opinion. Analyst research here. 9% of upside. I don't really buy into too much of this because I think too many people started putting a higher and higher price target on it as the stock price started rising. And then you still have some of these price targets from maybe back in the fall when the price of Palantir was at the 50s or $60 mark, and 35 didn't look so crazy. I don't know that we're getting back down to 35 right now unless there is just major turmoil, major sell-off in the market, and things really start to break down. But I'm not seeing that. The bond market is not seeing that. Those are still staying strong. So a lot of the fears that are out there, a lot of the talk seems to be just that, right? Yes, we did come down, but it almost looks like it's just going to be this quick turnaround on some stocks, right? I don't think that all growth stocks are going to be in that same category. We have seen DraftKings. I know we follow that one. This one has come down. There's still a decent amount of upside here on their debt raise. We saw that one. I haven't really paid attention to PayPal too much lately. I know a couple people are talking about it. Oh boy, I know management is really getting their act back together with new management at the helm. So they're really starting to drive up these profit lines that are actually working for them, and they're bringing on more and more clients. So I'm curious to see what happens here for PayPal. I sold out of this one. I don't know if it's time to get back in or not, but that could be another financial stock that maybe could work in this type of environment. Hence why I was buying Bank of America this week, right? I was looking at this one for our investing challenge. That is on Webull. If you need a link to get started making your own accounts or whatever, I do have one in the description. But yeah, I mean, I was buying Bank of America because I think having those higher rates, as we talked about, is going to be good for them. The fact that rates have come down on a 30-year. They're a little bit more, advantageous for people to go out and buy a house now. You feel like you're getting a little bit better of a deal on interest. We don't really think that it's going to go down too much this year, so it's not like we're really waiting around for, the end of the year is going to be, the rates are going to be 3%. That's just not going to happen. So a lot of people have this pent up demand. They want to get into a house. They're trying to buy in the springtime when everyone else is. I think, again, American company, we don't have as much going on with around the world. We're a lot more consolidated to America. I'm not saying that other people's money and currency doesn't affect Bank of America. It does, but they are more focused on, just America. So I think tariffs aren't going to affect them as much as, say, Walmart, right? Walmart's going to be paying more for goods that are coming from China. We don't have that with Bank of America. We don't necessarily have that with a lot of pharmaceutical companies that produce here. So again, the pharmaceuticals look smart. Bank stocks look smart. The financials are doing pretty well. One that has not already rallied, kind of rallied, but it slowed down here recently, is SoFi. I think that SoFi could be a huge beneficiary of having Trump in the White House. So again, hate him or love him, play the game, right? Just play the game. Play to the whistle. Don't worry about what's going on for political reasons. How can I make money off of this is my angle, right? I don't really care who's in the office. I mean, I do, but when it comes to financial, you have to play the cards that are in front of you. So SoFi should benefit from the fact that student loan forgiveness is really not on Trump's radar. He's not trying to forgive student loans. He's trying to, actually go after, people paying their bills. So I know that there was some news article, and, I always do this. I should have it already pulled up, but I don't. I know we had, PayPal earnings. Why PayPal? That's what I was talking about here. But yes, we've got a lot of people pointing to the fact that not having the student loan forgiveness could be a big driver for growth for SoFi, as SoFi is a stock that feeds to a lot of millennials, a lot of young Americans that are, in the midst of trying to refi or get their student loans under control. SoFi holds a lot of those loans. So the fact that they have those, the fact that, that might not necessarily be forgiven. There's also lawsuits going on that these things were, illegally handled. As far as the student loan forgiveness, there's a bunch of different things going on where I think SoFi can benefit from the fact of who is at the helm in the White House. So again, you're not necessarily fighting the current, you're more flowing with it. SoFi's in kind of a right spot at the right time. They're growing. They're, American focused. They don't have as much to do with tariffs or, anything of that matter. The White House is kind of on their side. They don't really want to just allow people off the hook for the loans that they have taken out. So SoFi should benefit from a lot of these different things, while also just be getting sold off over the course of the past month and a half, right? We hit almost $18. Now we're at 14, but that's also on the back of a pretty big rally, right? So if we zoom out, we'll see that 18 was definitely in rally mode. And then, we got some other news coming out. We got some FUD. The fear, uncertainty, and doubt comes back in. We're, coming back down to earth. And now I think after this pause, we do have some upside here to go ahead and buy this thing with the momentum of everything that I just said, right? So price target here, we're about flat. But I think we can get back up to 18 where we were just with a couple things going our way. So I have bought a little bit more SoFi. I also was buying Nike, and this one has tariff concerns, but there's also a huge sell-off that was in Nike stock. So if we want to take that 4-year, 5-year approach, I think this is a steal for what Nike has done over the long term. So 6 months, we've come down from 90. If we go back, 3 years, we're probably in the two. That might have been 5 where we were like creeping on 200. This was much longer ago now. This is 21. We were sitting 175, and now we're sitting at 79, right? So a lot of the pain is baked into this thing. Tariff talks, they all already know about it. There could be that fear in the short term, but I think we can use that to buy some of these high quality companies at a discount. Is there going to be some pain? Yes, I think there will be some pain, especially in something like a Nike or a Walmart or people that import a lot of goods from overseas. But I do believe that if we zoom out, if your position is to be in this for a long enough time, I think that we can go ahead and purchase some of these high quality names that are on sale right now. If you were willing to pay, 150 for Nike or 150 for NVIDIA, you really got to take a look at where am I willing to really load the boat on this thing. If I was willing to buy it at 150, I don't want to cut and run. I've lost money this week just like the rest of you. I really have. I didn't really sell too much. I think I sold a little bit of one stock to start buying some others. But that one I was okay with trimming my position. It wasn't a case where I'm getting out of it. I was trimming it just to kind of rebalance where my positions were. That covers a bit of the market swings, the stocks that I think we really can buy. A lot of people crowding into Apple, which I don't necessarily know that I like. Apple is always that safe haven of a tech stock. We've got Meta. Where are we on Meta? Let's take a quick look there. 668. That seems actually fairly comfortable for Meta for me, right? I think we've got a decent amount of upside, and I think we can go probably to upper sevens, low eights. I don't know that we're getting to this 935, but I do think that we can land somewhere in between this average and the high. I don't think that 610 is feasible unless people really stop advertising, and I don't think that the writing is there for that to happen. And for all the reasons I just said, with everyone spending and still adopting all this new technology, I don't think that it's there. There are the fears for tariffs. Talked about that. There are the fears for job growth or unemployment to rise. I think that is an unknown. And once we get past that, I think that the market is really going to rebound with a lot of good news that is kind of getting put to the side, right? NVIDIA had a good quarter and they sell off. We've seen that a lot of times here lately, that if it's not a double beat and a raise on guidance, even if guidance is in line, it looks like investors are wanting more. So it sells off 4 or 5%. And some of the stocks, yes, some of the price earnings multiples are getting way ahead of themselves. But other ones, I don't think that that's necessarily true. So I think that's a case where we have to, go ahead and start to take a look at what stocks do I want to add while they're on sale. Costco, I wasn't paying attention to that one. When did we add this? On 126. That was a bit late, but I thought it was in the nines, maybe low nines. That thing is moving up nicely. Palantir, somehow it really had that much of a rally since 126 and gave it all back. I guess that one did. CrowdStrike, we're sitting pretty comfortably there. Tesla, man, Tesla is a tough one. Tesla, man, Elon is just getting beat up any which way right now. A lot of fears around that one. And man, a lot of volatility always around Tesla. So down 28%. AMD, I bought more this week. I liked it at 120. I liked it at 105. I'm going to continue to buy this thing. Call me crazy. I know it's, a lot of people call it advanced money destroyer, or, even micro strat. People are calling it micro tragedy, not micro strategy. I get all the names. I understand it, but man, this one just seems to be too cheap in my opinion. 48% of upside, but let's do a quick recap as to why I like this one. And I'm probably going to end up buying more. I know the tariff talks are a lot. I understand that there's a lot of AI scares, but we're still at a buy. Where are the price targets here? We've got 9 downgrades. I understand downgrades, but I don't think that it's not at a buy rate right now. I think that cutting the actual stock price for the 12 months makes sense. We still have 48% of upside here, but we also have the growth to go along with it. Annual revenue kicking up 23% this year and 48% by the end of 26. We've got a stock that has a low peg ratio. We are at a 41% discount on forward PE. We are at a zero point 0.8 on the peg ratio. So that is half of where it historically trades, right? On this 5-year average. So yes, that's cheap. Forward PE is cheap. They are still getting out the new chipsets. What was it? The 325s, the 350s. Those are all in the pipeline. They're building out a lot of that. NVIDIA is not too concerned about what AMD is doing. NVIDIA is doing their own thing. They weren't really pointing to the fact that AMD is taking market share. I do think that can slowly start to deteriorate, though. I do believe that AMD can start to roll into some of that market share going forward. Maybe not, the first half of the year, but the back half of the year, I think that AMD's new chipsets can do that. So for a lot of reasons, discount on PE, discount on growth. The growth numbers are there. The revenue numbers are there. The product is going to be there. There's some definite slowdowns right now. It has been a rough stock. If we zoom out a little bit more, where is the growth on this thing over the past 5 years is 121%. So not NVIDIA, not Palantir, but still, I'm good with 126% of growth over 5 years. And yes, I do believe that with this 1 year cutback of 44% off, I do think it is a good time for me to start purchasing. So that's not buy advice for you. That is simply what I'm doing, as is everything that I mentioned on here. But so AMD, I'm still looking to buy it. Yes, I understand that there are fears out there. And I understand that other people aren't going to want it. But for me, it makes sense. I am not, have not, will not be buying MicroStrategy. If I want MicroStrategy or MicroTragedy, I'll just buy Bitcoin, because essentially that's what they are. Yes, they're software and IT, but let's be real. They just buy Bitcoin. Which might be wrong, but I mean, that's what they're known for, is buying and holding Bitcoin. So I see 543 on the chart. I don't think that we actually got here, though. That might have been like pre-market or something. I think we got up to like 447. I looked at this the other day because I was curious as to what MicroStrategy actually has done. If I'm looking at a 5-year, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the 4 handle, but I know that it got up there and it's giving it back. So for me, if I'm going to do a MicroStrategy, I would rather just own Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures or anything related to Bitcoin, rather than just simply owning MicroStrategy, because you're along for a lot rockier of a ride, right? So if we did hit 543 and now we're down to 255, we're more than a 50% haircut, but we have not seen that much of a haircut in Bitcoin itself, right? So if Bitcoin capped out at 105 and they came back down to 79, yeah, we're 20-ish% haircut, but nothing near what MicroStrategy did. And yes, I understand that MicroStrategy went from 145 to 400. But at the same time, you're looking at Bitcoin that went from 25-ish to 100, right? So Bitcoin had more gains and MicroStrategy suffered more losses from peak. So for me, it's a no. I just don't see the point. SMCI, I know some insiders are dumping some of this. This was on Friday. We're down about 3.5%. Again, I'd rather be in other chip makers, but I understand that this was a very euphoria-driven rally for SMCI. I mean, you can look at the 5-year and see from 668, and then, yeah, we had that stock split, but we got up to 122 over here on the 1 year last March, and we've given, 60% of it back. So again, for me, I don't necessarily want to crowd into these busy trades. I'd rather be into something that is a little bit more tried and true. I don't really want to, buy the dip in SMCI when I could be buying the dip in a higher quality name, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not saying it isn't going to work, but I think there's a lot more fears and problems around something like an SMCI versus an NVIDIA, or even an AMD for that matter. So that is what I'm doing there. But I think really the stocks that are going to be the easiest for us to buy right now is going to be pharmaceuticals. It's going to be American products kept in America. Financials, I think that those are going to do really well. So that's kind of my take on what's going on right now. I think there's a lot of geopolitical fear, but a lot of times that is not going to hurt the U.S. market, right? History has showed that. We've seen a lot of wars. We've seen a lot of, political risks that are out there, and the market is going to continue to do what the market does. And normally it's going to accelerate through a lot of those things that we would think are going to cause major sell-offs. But at the end, again, not to keep using the same term, but if we zoom out, we see that the market 6 months from now is going to be in a better position after all the dust settles and after all the problems are solved or kind of baked in or accounted for, at least. So for me, I'm looking for high quality names to buy on the dip. Some are going to be growth names. Some are going to be, more U.S. focused financials, pharmaceuticals, and the like. So that is what I'm doing. I don't want to simply run for the sidelines, run for the hills, hide all my money, put it in cash, and miss out on good opportunities, because I guess I'm a long-term investor and I'm not simply playing what the stock market fears of the week are, right? I know a lot of people are doing that. I know a lot of people are getting out of all of it. Some people are saying, get out of crypto, get out, even Jim Cramer spouting off that Bitcoin is dead or whatever he said about it. Could it be? Sure. Could quantum go ahead and hurt a lot of what Bitcoin is? Maybe. Could more hacks happen? Sure. But I think that Bitcoin is going to have a value amount attached to it for the foreseeable future. And I personally think that that value amount is going to continue to grow going forward. So that is probably my biggest purchase of the week was Bitcoin. I was adding in the low 80s to mid 80s. And if it does it again, I've got cash in my Bitcoin account ready to deploy a little bit more capital. And if it gets back down there, I'll be right there buying. So that's what I got, guys. That's everything that I'm covering for this week. That's what I'm watching. My taxes are done. Apparently, I made too much money selling stocks, so I owe a little bit of money. So got to deal with that. Got to pay the state and the Fed. But with that being said, let's get out there. Let's continue investing. Let's continue making some money in the market and trying to take advantage of the dips and the buying opportunities that are presented to us, here, there, and everywhere all the time, right? It might not just be in one stock. We're going to try to take a look at all of them and see where those buying opportunities actually are. So thank you guys for stopping by. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And that is it for me for this week. I will catch you next time on Let It Grow Investing for, I think, episode 294. We're creeping right up to 300. So thank you guys. Take care.